What's up, you guys? Back at it here. Haven't done a video in a couple days. I just took a little mental hiatus, and man, I tell you what, if you simply blink in this day and age, you will miss so much information because it's coming out quick and it's coming out hot. And speaking of hot, to get back into the swing of things here, we're going to go over this article by the Food Babe that she released just a couple days ago. And it says here, emails between the EPA and Monsanto now revealed, and the contents are quite literally sickening. Now, I'm going over this article because health to me is very important, because we incarnate into these mind, body, spirit complexes, these meat suits, and if we are to become the most enlightened individuals that we can, both mind, body, and spirit, we might want to know how to take care of those things. So it's very important to learn really what's going on with health, with food, with truly how to take care of ourselves. And this article will help give you some really the nitty-gritty on exactly how the EPA and Monsanto have colluded together to screw with our heads and to alter public perception of what health really is. And we've always had this kind of subconscious feeling of, oh yeah, we know the EPA is corrupted and there's a bunch of crap going on. We know Monsanto, right, with all their ties to Nazi Germany, what they did with Agent Orange of Vietnam, and all their nasty crap with GMOs. We know they're corrupt, but how exactly, people want the fine details. And this article is great because it gives the fine details. So I'm going to go over some quick commentary of the beginning. She has 6 emails that are posted from this data dump that I will quickly skim and then give you all of the background on. And I'll link all this stuff down below so you can research it more in depth if you would like. So basically, Miss Food Babe, her name's Vanny. Vanny here has made it her life's mission to raise public awareness about what's really in our food and how can it affect our health. Fantastic, because obviously those powers that be are not going to teach us how to take care of ourselves, so we have to take that self-responsibility to do so. We should be able to trust the food we buy is safe, but of course when the people in charge of that are working to keep unsafe chemicals on the market, we have a giant problem. We have been, the Food Babe here has been spreading the truth about GMOs and hazardous chemicals used in conjunction with them, like Roundup, glyphosate. This weed killer isn't just used on GMOs, but on 70 different food crops in the US. It's in practically everything we eat, so if glyphosate is causing cancer, we probably want to know it's in there. A quick tip, a quick fact, your Snapple fact of the day. Most of the GMOs, especially produced by Monsanto, they're called Roundup Ready crops. And the reason they're called Roundup Ready is because these crops are literally designed to have as much Roundup and than this glyphosate. This is the main ingredient in Roundup, the most toxic ingredient. You can spray as much of this crap on the crops as you want and the crops won't die. Pretty weird, but it still sticks on the crops. So then we uptake the food, the processed foods that have all this crap in there. There was a recent study done that showed even foods like Cheerios have thousands of times of the levels of glyphosate in there than is needed to cause gene alterations in mammals. So the food that most people eat, the Frosted Flakes, the Cheerios, even simple things like crackers and whatnot, all these processed GMO foods have crazy amounts of this glyphosate toxin in there, so it easily can cause gene alterations, which means cancer. Causes cancer. Not a tough thing to deduce from there. Now let's get into these emails. Keep in mind, Monsanto and the EPA do not want the public to see these internal emails. Why do you think that is? Not a tough head scratcher there. And this is a bit of the background about how the emails were released. While Monsanto is being sued in California by dozens of people who claim Roundup is causing their non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Monsanto had to provide 6 million pages of internal emails and documents to the court and attorneys and marked the majority of them as confidential so they'd be hidden from the public. So they're being forced to give this stuff out and they're still labeling it confidential. We don't want you to see. We don't want you to see. Of course. And basically the judge said, hey, we're going to threaten you with sanctions if you don't release this stuff, even if you don't like what it says. So luckily we had an honest judge who wasn't bribed or blackmailed, who was able to get some of this out into the public. And we need to report on it because it's very important stuff. So let's get into these emails. Here's what we have uncovered in these documents so far. Monsanto was in private talks with top official at the EPA, Jess Rowland, and this dude was in charge of evaluating the cancer risk of glyphosate. Rowland was allegedly helping to stop another federal agency from investigating whether glyphosate causes cancer. And he even said to a Monsanto employee, "If I can kill this, I should get a medal." Rowland also signed off on the mysteriously leaked and deleted EPA memo, which found glyphosate not likely to be carcinogenic to humans. So this guy obviously is getting bought and paid for by Monsanto, and we have names and we have how, which what I love here. Long-term EPA toxicologist Marion Copley accused the EPA's Rowland of playing political conniving games with science and making decisions based off his bonus in favoring pesticide makers like Monsanto. And this guy, Marion Copley, even stated it is essentially certain that EPA causes cancer. There's that email showing it. Another email, a Monsanto employee proposed they could ghostwrite portions of a scientific report, then just have hired scientists sign their names. Remember, science is, people have this like religious dogma about science, right? Scientism. Science is bought and paid for. We had a former editor of both the Lancet Medical Journal and the New England Medical Journal both say at least half of all these scientific studies are complete fraud. And people don't, it's such a concept that induces so much cognitive dissonance in people's heads that they don't want to admit that. We need to get information like this out there, the nitty-gritty details of how exactly the science is bought and paid for, so people will finally accept this fact that science is bought and paid for, okay? We have to move past that cognitive dissonance and really just break their illusions. That's why I call this channel Destroying the Illusion, because we need people to get this. Next, way back in 1999, Monsanto buried the findings of their own scientist who found glyphosate as genotoxic. Internal emails show that a Monsanto employee questioned whether Perry had ever worked with industry before and hoped it didn't cost too much should they hire a different expert who would work with be influential with regulators and help them with outreach efforts. So, it must be noted that there's always internal tension going on, not only within the three-letter agencies themselves, but with other three-letter agencies, because we have the people who are bribed and blackmailed, then we have the people who are honest. The people who are honest will be literally ridiculed and vilified by the people who are bribed and blackmailed, and that's why all this information is so difficult to get out to the public. We have the head of Monsanto who will put out their propaganda and their BS, but then it's always like the scientists, right? Or I should say the EPA. The head of the EPA, the head of the FDA, the head of the CDC, they'll always put out their propaganda talking points, but then the scientists in these institutions themselves are always like, "What the hell? Like, what the fuck, dude? We are saying the complete opposite of what you're saying," and then this type of stuff is what happens. So there's a lot of perspective that people need to understand as to why things are the way things are, and this is one of them. And then a couple other emails here that just showed, you know, Roland was conniving with Monsanto. He'd be useful for the ongoing glyphosate defense. So this email is showing the revolving door here because a toxicologist at Monsanto hinted that Roland would be good after he retired from the EPA to get into Monsanto, right? Remember Hillary Clinton? She worked for Rose Law Firm, then she got into politics. There's always the revolving door between politics and corporations in the food industry, in you could say the military industrial complex, the defense industries, all of them, It's awful. It's awful what goes on. So they are feeding us lies and secrets and poisoning us. Glyphosate should be banned worldwide. It's so important, and I want to go through these three facts just for you as a watcher of my videos and an eater of food, because we all eat food and we all need to take care of our bodies. Choose organic as much as possible. That is not a sales tactic. That is not a hippy dippy woo woo concept. That is crucial. Do you want your mind to function properly? You might want to keep those heavy metals and glyphosate out of it. Do you want your body? Do you want your hormones? Do you want your liver? Do you want to shit okay? Right? You might want to learn how to take care of yourself and share this information with your friends and family, right? And then basically just buy real organic foods from as many local producers as you can. If you cannot, that's okay. It's not going to kill you, but obviously the more you can do for yourself, the better. So anyway, I wanted to just make this video showing you literally it's right here. It's right here. You cannot deny this stuff when you look at this between the EPA and Monsanto. I'll try to link some information just on GMO, just some basic outline information. If you're unaware of the GMO concept, what exactly they do, um, what exactly to look for in foods you buy, I'll just link some basic stuff down below. I'll link these, the emails, and some of the other things I talked about in this video as well. So anyway, thank you guys for watching this report. I will be coming back with some more for you guys and a lot more videos soon. I don't like taking these breaks because I feel like I miss a whole lot. So anyway, thank you guys. Thank you for all your support, sharing these videos, and contributing as well, helping me along with this truth sharing process because this is all I do. So thanks guys. Take care.